Hello, everybody, and welcome to another show of the Parenting the Clay Way. I'm John Clay, and as always, I'll be talking generally about my three kids, boys age 4, 6, and 8. And we have Travis McCabe here from Green Bean Coffee as well. Travis has older kids, mixed family, blended family as you call it, and so you get to bring in the teens perspective and the 20-year-old perspective as well.
Mm-hmm.
And we've got a great one today. We're talking about nutrition and how do you get your kids to eat right. And I have to tell you, I did not think that this would be as much of a challenge as it is. And I list it easily in my probably top 5 or even top 3 most difficult challenges is how do you get your kids to eat
The
right.
struggle is real.
Yeah. What do you think? And were you surprised about encountering the struggle?
You know what? No, because I was a kid.
Yeah.
And I still am a kid at times. It's one of the fun things about being an adult. Living vicariously.
You get to pick what you
exactly.
You can eat 3 bowls of Lucky Charms, and I'm going to do it.
Exactly. But yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, we always want our kids to be healthy, eat what's right. Nutrition's always this, and and the kids will sometimes be like, no. Whether it's like, I don't like this, I don't like that, but one thing I've realized, is taste buds change.
Mm-hmm.
It's funny. Our youngest, for example, for the longest time, he did not like chicken. He hated chicken. He'd sit there, I don't like it, I don't like this, don't like that, blah, 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 blah. Then miraculously, within the last 4 or 5 months, I'm like, oh, we're going to have some chicken, this and that. Oh, okay, and he's perfectly fine with it. And then you hear like the squeak of your head, like a what?
Yeah.
And and then it was like, well, that's cool. I'm glad you like chicken. Well, I've always liked chicken. Like a year ago, no, you didn't.
Right.
But hey, whatever. I'm glad you're eating it now.
Mm-hmm.
And it is. It's just taste buds change as you mature. Things you didn't like then, you may like now. And I think as you get older, you're more willingness to try new things. And. And just be aware of what they're eating. Cut back on the sweets and limit. And,
for what you provide in the home is what they're going to eat.
Yeah,
number
absolutely.
one. I mean, it's so you have to have, and one of the things I think the tenets that we talk about is that first off, you have to walk the walk. Talk to if you want your kids to eat right, you have to eat right.
Absolutely.
I mean, there's no question about that. And you've got to buy the food and have it available, and it's got to be relatively good and fresh and what have you.
Sure.
For example, I just love fresh veggies and fruits, and so I just always have them on hand.
Right.
And I always eat them. I'm a real voracious eater of fresh fruits and veggies. So at least I think they're going to be able to take that by example, and hopefully that's a big part of it.
Right.
And this is another question I have is so one of our oldest, Jack, he just basically doesn't eat much in the way of fruits and veggies.
Gotcha.
And I think that a part of it is a power struggle. I think part of it is not so much the food itself, because he won't even taste it. So it's really frustrating that he won't eat, for example, berries or things I know that are really great and sweet and whatever,
right.
And all manner of different things that I'm sure he would love. And I wonder if it's an attention thing or power thing or whatever. You have any thoughts on how difficult it is when you know that they would like it if they tried it and they just won't even try it?
You know what? It's the coaxing thing. I mean, my kids are older, and there's still at times you're like, no, I don't want any of that, But give you an example. It's you still do the fooling stuff, whether it's here's the cauliflower mashed potatoes, but mixing out the cauliflower part, have some mashed potatoes, and do them normal. Like, oh, this is really good. Well, good. I'm glad you're enjoying it. I'm not going to tell you what it was because you're enjoying them now. As soon as you find out, you switch and forget about it. You're not liking them again.
Right. So you don't tell them.
No.
You would rather just let it
slide. But the one thing it's kind of funny is on the nutrition aspect, and like you said, practice what you preach, let them see what's what. I like to work out, I'm very, very advocate. And our kids are at that age now where they're getting want to be more physical. They want to go to the gym and whatnot, So I'm like, you guys need to eat more protein, cut back on sweets, eat more protein. So they're starting to follow those type of steps now. They're like, they see where they want to be because they're growing, and they want to, they have themselves visions of, gods of, Adonis is built, whatever, but it's funny. And then they start, okay, I want to need more protein. Where can I get protein from?
Right.
Well, eat your chicken. Make sure you're eating your vegetables. Clean proteins, just different things like that, and cut back on the sweets and be a little bit more active. And that's when it starts kind of kicking in. It's like, well, I may not like this, but I know where I want to be. So
it's a tool to get me there.
Right, exactly.
I have an interesting aspect now with the middle kid who's 6, Anson, and Max who's 4. They generally will eat pretty much anything. There have been some issues with meats at times, but for the most part, they love veggies and fruits, and pretty much anything I give them. And Jack, however, has some issues, and they actually will eat a little bit too many fruits and veggies. I think maybe compensating, maybe because I've pushed Jack so much about it, they overdo it.
Sure.
Because they want to impress me or whatever, And so then they end up with bathroom troubles because they eat way too much veggies and fruits and a lot of juice and stuff, and it goes right through them or whatever. And then on the other side, and this is just a funny part of our family, is that sometimes, you're shocked at what comes out of these kids, in the bathroom, right? And when they don't eat fiber, it turns into something that won't go down the toilet. So how crazy is it that you have a 6-year-old that will clog the toilet?
Right.
That is funny and horrendous at the same time. I can't believe I have to have a stick to break it up.
So did you do this?
Yeah.
How?
My dad has funny that he'll stories of your dad with always these poop stories. Or whatever,
right.
Always funny. Everything was always funny to my dad, especially like poop and fart jokes and all that stuff. And then here my son is sort of taking over in that he's all this stuff is gross and you can't believe as a parent. So you're getting upset with your kid because he's not eating enough fiber, and obviously take a look at what's going on here. This is not natural. This is not natural what's in there. You got to fix this. You got to eat more fiber. And so I give him fiber gummies and I get him fiber bars, and that is helping. I think that's making a big difference.
Sure.
So the funny thing is look, Dad, it's soft poops. As if that's this magic. I can't believe that they were cheering. Hey, high five, soft poops. But that's how frustrating this whole nutrition and diet thing can be. You are down to this level. You just want them to be healthy, and you're afraid when you're seeing them, eating whatever it is. That was wait a minute, that's not good.
Right. And you know what? Eating healthy is just one big thing, and this struggle is there. But having what's available in the house, like you said, we have treats there, we have our snacks, and a lot of times it'll be I'm having a treat and then I'm having dinner and I'm not eating a lot of dinner, but then I'm eating a treat afterwards, and it's just come on,
right?
But it's also going back to things we've touched on multiple times when we've talked. It's they're still growing up, and they're flexing their independence and stuff a little bit, So it's here's the law, here's this, and here's that. This is what you should do. And they're eating just enough, to well, I'll do that. Just like typical kids, it seems like they don't grow out of it. It's well, what if I do one more big bite? It's you're a 15-year-old kid, but you're doing something you did when you were 6 and 7. Come on.
Yeah, you have to be okay, because my kids we made this deal they'll cut it in half, and then they get to pick the side.
Right.
You know what I mean? It's if you try to get these negotiations to get them to eat just a little bit more, and then it's well, how many bites, Dad? And whatever. It's ridiculous.
I know.
It's so ridiculous that eventually you're going to look back and it's so funny. I did want to give out one tip that I've encountered that works great, especially with Jack that doesn't like a lot of things, is getting them incorporated in fixing, preparing, selecting, having ownership over that food, and when he cuts it up. So there's no way in the world he was ever going to eat broccoli. He just won't eat it. Won't touch it, won't even get close to it. But when he cut it up, he actually ate it, and then he was like, oh, I kind of like it.
Right.
I don't know if I believed him. I wasn't sure what was going on there. I was shocked, But the fact that he was involved in the process of, again, selecting it or making it, cutting it, preparing, getting him empowered in the kitchen is what seems to make is the most fun for him, and it really makes a big difference.
Yeah, absolutely.
I think too, and you guys have a coffee shop, and so you definitely have things coming and going, trying new different things, and so you must be interested in different stuff.
Absolutely. Me personally, I love to cook. And like you said, getting the kids involved is one thing as well. We try to be hey, what do we have for dinner? And we'll give options, we got this, this, and this, and this. Try to choose, and whether it's you pick a side and we'll pick the main course, but it's just that equal, hey, I'm part of this situation, whether they're cooking or not. Our youngest actually loves to cook, Fran, he's, he loves to, he'll go to town, Mother's Day, he's like, I'll make breakfast, I'll do this, I'll do that.
And can you trust them pretty much? You say go for it.
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
And then whatever happens, and you're okay, and it ends up working out right.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's one of those things. He'll read the instructions or whatnot. Basic simple recipes. Perfectly confident. When he's not sure, he'll be like, "Hey, what's this?" or "What am I doing?" or whatnot. But yeah, I'm waiting for him to get a little bit older, so I won't have to cook. Even though I enjoy it, it'll still be like, "Hey, what are we having tonight?" Instead of him asking me, "What are we having tonight?"
Right.
It'll be. I'm looking forward to that day.
I think that is a fun with those moments that you have. Whether they're doing chores and then they're going to be able to take on those chores, or again making food, the different things around the house, and that brings up another side issue too of this. When do you ask kids to do chores like helping with preparing food? Certainly, there's helping with the table and all that stuff. But I mean, I think that if you're not careful and start early, all of a sudden then it becomes this kind of mountain to climb to get them to do stuff.
Right.
So I think getting them to contribute a little bit more and more and more as time goes on, letting them know that, hey, you're needed here.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think once a kid realizes that they're needed, they're an important part of the family, not just hey, you're a part of the family and we love you. No, you're an intricate part. We need you. This is your responsibility. Without this, the entire thing's going to fall apart. We need you to hold your own. Whether it's as simple as taking the garbage out to setting at the table to cat litter, whatever. It's here's your responsibilities. I have mine. Your mother has hers. Your brother has his. These are yours.
What is your biggest frustration that you have that your kids won't do? You have to keep harping them on.
I don't think there's really a lot of harping. I think it's just a constant reminder. It's like, I know you've done this every Monday, but this Monday isn't any different. You did it last Monday, the Monday before that. But you know what? It's getting a little late, and it still isn't done yet. It's just that constant reminder.
Right.
And it's like I said, it's not really a frustration, but it's just we get to the point. It's like, why am I telling you this?
Yeah.
You know what day it is. You know what you need to do.
Right.
It didn't magically change.
Well, we talked about the changing generations, and certainly as parents, we can be, if we're not careful, we're going to make kids that don't know how to be respectful, how to work well in environments like work situations, and and figure out how to be successful in different environments once they leave the house. If we just accommodate them for everything and not hold them accountable to standards that we set at the table or whatever, then I fear that they aren't going to be successful. They're going to be seen as children who are just catered. They were just catered to, and they're not going to be. What I mean? We see this. We see kids like that are teens now and in their 20s, and they do not make good employees.
Right. And it's true. I mean, we're fortunate enough, having our own business, but kids can start working out at the age of 14, to get out there. Both of our kids, our youngest, actually all three of them, or even our oldest, our two youngest, they work at the coffee house. We're giving them that, hey, here's a customer service industry. This is your expectations, this is what you need to do, and we train them accordingly. Just like we would any other employee. And, getting them that, I'd say social interaction, but get them that social interaction of like, this is what's important, this is why it's important to show up on time. This is why it's important for you when you're getting up for school and your alarm is set, you need to be up, because once you start getting a job and your alarm is set and you show up late for work, I'm not going to be there to drive you to your job because you slept in. I'm not going to be there for you to speak to your boss because you slept in. You start learning, this is why it's important now to get up on time. This is why it's important to do this and do that. And you start them early.
Yeah, you hope that repetition ends up being a factor, and also just starting those conversations on a man-to-man kind of basis. In our case, or it's no different for girls as well. These are the expectations, and I really want to treat. When I talked to the boys, I was like, I really want to treat you like an adult. In that, I'm going to give you the respect to know what we're talking about here. I almost feel like I'm a little bit early on it when they're 4, 6, and 8. But you know what? I still want to have those conversations and say, look, I want you to be a big boy, and I know you want to be that too, and I want to treat you like that.
Right.
You know?
And absolutely. And I think it's a matter of respect. It's like, hey, this is where I'm seeing you because I know you're old enough now that I can give you these talks and I can give you, these choices to make. And, I feel that, this is where you're at. And it gives them that sense of, pride, like, hey, Dad's seeing me at this level now. I'm no longer,
Right.
I'm no longer that little kid he saw me as. I'm a little bit more cool, or I'm more this and more that, and and I think they appreciate that.
Living up to your expectations of your father, obviously, got to be a huge thing for you. Would hope anyway for most kids.
Yeah, absolutely.
For us, we hope.
Yeah.
Big time. And same goes with girls. I don't have girls, but I don't think the rules are really any different. And with mothers and such too. So, but it is nice that we can. I guess it isn't. Some of the folks who've heard our show say it's really nice to hear dads, talk about being dads.
Right.
And I think it's a big need, in the community and just to be able to listen or watch people who are just giving their everyday experiences. And we certainly want to hear from you too. Share your thoughts and ideas and some, questions that you have, but topics too. It's great to get topics and suggestions, and, we'll go after those topics. And, it seems like we're never going to have a lack of things to talk about.
As long as you have children, you never have a lack of things to talk about.
Yeah, you can just talk about what just happened today. But Travis McCabe, thanks for joining us.
Absolutely.
Green Bean Coffee, John Clay. And again, we hope you tune in again for Parenting the Clay Way. Like I said, we'd love to hear from you. We'll tell more funny stories and have some fun tips as well. We'll see you then.
See you.